Welcome to Straight Talk Sacred Pathway. I'm Stuart Welbourn, a British author and former therapist, and each week I sit down with Wa-Na-Nee-Che, a spiritual elder from Turtle Island, to explore the deeper truths behind healing, ceremony, and connection to Source. Okay, listeners and viewers, I apologise that we didn't go live as we had said last week, but that's because when you try to go live for the first time on a new YouTube channel, even though this channel is not new, you've got to wait 24 hours. So when I tried to test the setup, I've got to wait 24 hours. So at the time of recording, we couldn't go live. But on Monday, the 26th, hopefully we will go live. So good evening, Wa-Na-Nee-Che. How are you today? Oh, I just realised I've got the radio on in the background. Okay, there's a lot of crazy shit going on, even crazier than usual from your president. He's now like threatening tariffs against Europe, one of his allies, because he wants Greenland, because he says to protect America from Russia and China. However, surely your allies is a better protection, because then you haven't got to use your own troops. So what's he going on with?
Yeah, what makes it so funny is that we already have a military base there. And they just found out that there's a secret base underneath the land of Greenland that is composed of nuclear weapons
Whose?
in Greenland,
Yeah, but whose are the weapons?
USA.
Oh.
So what the hell do they want to take over England? I mean, Greenland for when they already have an agreement with Greenland that they could protect. They don't need it for anything else.
Well, we know why. Probably why. Minerals,
And,
oil.
and because NATO came in saying that they'll protect Greenland because it's a NATO member, he put tariffs on, what is it, 7 or 8 ally countries.
You really want to know what it is?
Go on then, Matthew.
Greenland has a lot of rich minerals there, actually, because it's frozen under the ice.
We all know that. Yeah. Unless you got to be a bit, I don't know.
It's a money game. It's a money game for him, because all he's doing is putting all this money that he's getting into a private account in Quasar.
Yeah, but what's he expect to do? He's fucking rich already. And, no offence to the guy, but he's 80 or something, so he's not going to be around that much longer, you wouldn't think.
He wants to become famous, and yeah, he's going to become famous for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, Nero kind of rings a bell.
Well, I got a feeling, and I'm just hoping that the Democrats in the new election that's coming up soon will replace the Republicans. And I'm hoping what they do is that they put Trump in jail. They put all of his cabinet in jail. All the Republicans that supported him, that when they were supposed to be supporting the people in the Constitution, they need to charge him with treason.
But how likely is that to happen?
They're pretty good. It's a pretty good chance, because they're saying that the House could turn over 25 seats, which gives them the majority and gives them also the majority to basically go after people. Because the Senate and the House of Representatives may take over, but they can't stop with just basically impeaching and putting Trump in jail. They need to put his cabinet in jail, because they're thinking about charging the Homeland Security person with murder.
The one who shot the woman in the car?
Pardon?
Are you on about that woman? I can't remember her name.
Yeah.
Something good?
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
And, well, there's other ones too that's been shot now too. Mm-hmm. And the whole idea is that ICE itself is breaking every civil right rules and regulations in the book. And no one's doing it. They can't go into your house and arrest you without a warrant. And what they're doing right now is that they can't really arrest anybody for no reason. If someone shows up the sign, they can't go and arrest him because he's holding up a sign. That's freedom of speech. So a lot of ICE agents, if Democrats get in, I got a feeling a lot of them are going to be charged with civil rights violations.
Well, the reason why I don't like this whole situation with ICE agents is because they're not truly federal agents, actually. And not just that, they are also not the National Guard and the law enforcement of the police force. Okay. So when they take action, they're not taking action because of our law. They're taking action because they want to. See, National Guards have a guideline of what they need to do, just like the law enforcement. But the ICE agents themselves, like I said, they're like free agents. They're mercenaries. They're not actual federal government agents.
So, that being the case, I mean, the guy who's just shot that woman in the car,
Yeah.
why have the police not arrested him? Or have they?
Well, they would try him, but the FBI has given them
Yep.
immunity.
That's what I was going to say, because they are under federal law. Because
No.
being protected by federal law.
Here's what I can't understand. The National Guard is a state-run military organization.
Yes.
Trump has no power over them. The state can actually send in the National Guard to protect their people because their people are being threatened. That's what the National Guard is for, security for the state. So every state needs to mobilize their National Guard for the protection of the people and force ICE out.
Well, from what I gather, this is only happening in, let me get my colours right, blue states? Is that right?
Yeah, the states that basically supported the Democrats.
And this brings us back to what you're saying about, is it your midterms that you're on about, where the House could change and get him out? Is that right?
Yep.
So, but he's not going to, he's aware of that, isn't he? So, this is why, I mean, he's getting away with fucking shit that nobody's ever got away with for a very long time. He's not going to just give up, is he? So, he's going to do his best to cancel the midterms, is what I've heard. Can that happen?
Yeah, now, unfortunately, Trump is a historian. And he's practicing the way that he can take over the United States. And he goes back all the way to Rome, using techniques that Rome used, that Mussolini used, that Hitler used, that Stalin used, and that Putin's using now. He's studying them to see how he can take over the United States militarily.
But here's the funny thing. Trump doesn't realize that what America's foundation was built on is the freedom of the people. And because we were raised like that for how many centuries now?
I don't know, since independence,
they're
isn't
not
it?
going to change. He's gonna burn himself. He's gonna burn
Will
himself.
he? That's the question, will he? Because you've been, the Constitution, great bit of paperwork and all that kind of stuff since you pulled away from being one of our colonies.
Yeah.
Yep.
It makes sense, and it's a great bit of, be great if we had that kind of thing over here. But it wouldn't, because then we'd end up with a fucking president, wouldn't we?
Now, for instance, a good example why the Americans won't take shit from the government. George Floyd incident.
I was going to bring that up.
And now look what's happening in Minnesota. Trump cannot control the people because of how we were taught by from the foundation of America. Good luck.
Yeah. It's just like what people have found out. One of the key things about the people in America, don't piss them off.
Yep.
Because when they get pissed off, they get ornery. And when they get ornery, they basically, again, revolt against the system.
And also, which country has the most fucking guns that citizens own? Sorry for language.
No, it's all right, because it's one of them conversations. It's not like we're swearing.
Yeah, but like
for the sake of swearing.
Which country has a lot of guns right now?
You.
And since when? Exactly.
Murder capital of the world.
Yeah, but it's going to end quite soon, and all the people basically that think they're getting away with things aren't. It's being registered, and one day everything's going to explode. I mean, in my visions about 3 years ago, they said the beginning will start with earthquakes all over the world, with volcanoes all over the world, with sinkholes all over the world, with floods all over the world, with climate change all over the world. And if people don't listen, then the verdict is going to be they don't care. They don't care about humanity. They don't care about spreading love to the world. Instead, they spread hate. And all they're doing is digging their own grave. And it's about 5 feet deep now. They only have to go one more foot. And then, they're going to have to pay.
Okay. Bringing that back to what you said, because this is a vision you said you had. You think everything's going to change for the better then in your country, do you?
Eventually, it'll be better for the whole world.
Well, yes, I would agree with that in principle, but are you hopeful? Because obviously we've got the pond between us, the Atlantic, and so we only see what we see on social media or in news outlets, and I don't really do much social media or the news, so I hear on my radio headlines and then stuff like that. It all seems very doom and gloom at the moment that Trump's going to take over the world and say fuck everybody until somebody says, some country stands up to him. Let's just say like Britain said, you know what, you're taking the piss now, we're not having none of this. Or even worse, he invades Greenland military. Greenland's part of NATO, and that really then brings in the fact that NATO forces should defend Greenland against an ally, which is all crazy.
Well, you know who's behind a lot of these things that Trump's doing, don't you?
Putin.
Yep.
Yeah.
Basically, Trump is destroying NATO.
Trying to, yeah. And
That's
Europe.
what Putin wants. So he's playing right into the hand. And when the people wake up, if you have 500 people going for Trump, how are you going to stop them? Just like you sit there and, being raised as a Catholic at first, being an altar boy and everything, I always ask the question that God, according to the Bible, destroyed the world and put Noah into an ark. And there was maybe no more than 18 people so that the earth could be repopulated. So what happened? All of a sudden, the whole world turned back into the evilness again. So then he goes into God and Gomorrah, and turns everybody into salt stones. And then years later, evilness is back again. So I always said, well, if he's going to create a solution, he has to have something set that will prevent people from becoming evil. And there's never been, so I sit there and I question sometimes what the Bible says, because they kind of say what they want to say, what they want to believe, and they've never written down the true story. In the winter counts that the native people have, they never change anything. 18,000 years ago, they started 18,000 years ago with a story. They relayed that story to only one person, story keeper. He had to basically learn it exactly the way he was told. So when the next person comes along, exactly the way it was told. So when you come into this generation, this time in the world, the message, the story has not changed. It's still the same. It hasn't been fabricated. It hasn't been added to. It's told as the original story. And as you put original stories together, it's told exactly the way it happened. If you went back 18,000 years ago, the story would be the same.
And what's the story?
Well, the story basically is that we as human beings have to learn to love each other. That we need to basically build a community in which greed isn't the basis of the power, that humanity is the basis of power. And that's why, again, when I explained in some of the other telecasts, is that they tried to kill off the native people because the native people's responsibility was to teach the three colors that came back to Turtle Island how to connect with the earth again, how to basically learn to be human, humanity, love. But when the religion and government found out that this would threaten their existence, their power, they killed 150 million of them, trying to stop it. But we're still here. I'm still here. And I'm still trying to get people to understand they learn the old ways because that's what they call the red road, which comes from your heart.
You kind of drifted back into something that you seem to repeat a lot, and it's a good message, but people need to also deal with what's going on in the world. And our conversation was about Trump and how we know that Putin's probably pulling his strings. You're saying that you think that Trump will get his comeuppance, and all the ICE agents that are done wrong will get their comeuppance. How certain of that are you? Because what I was trying to get at was that we hear the news filtered through social media and biases left and right. It's quite a worrying time in Europe at the moment as well, because we don't know what Trump's going to do next. It's bad enough for you guys. You're living with it every day. Over here, we're like going, fucking hell, he's not only just screwing with America, he's planning to screw with us now. Have you got any reassuring messages for people in Europe?
The reckoning is coming.
Is that it?
People have already had visions, but they don't know they're having visions of the future. They just think it's a dream. But a reckoning is coming to the world. And that's a reckoning that basically, again, will how you deal with the issues and the problems that we're having right now. It's like you say you have 20 people in the room and 18 of them arguing and basically trying to kill each other, but two of them basically say, no, that's not us. Well, the two will survive, the 18 will be gone. So if you have people that basically, it's in the Hopi, look at the Hopi prophecy about the spaceships and stuff, about how the good people will be saved. They would be taken into the spaceship, taken away from the Earth. The people that are left on Earth will be destroyed. And when all the people are destroyed, the people will come back.
Okay, well, you've covered that before as well.
Yeah.
But that isn't really something tangible for people to think about, especially at the moment, because we're talking around Trump at the moment, because you said the star people would be coming in 5 or 6 years' time. Okay. Trump shouldn't be in power in 3 years' time, even if he manages to see out his presidency. So people need something that's perhaps a little bit more grounded, a little bit more... How do I cope with the fact that every day I'm opening the news and all I'm hearing is more doom and gloom?
I got something.
Go on then, Matthew.
And so the whole concept of, like my dad was talking about, the good and evil, stuff like that, and what's going on this earth between that struggle of...
I can't hear you, Matthew. You'll need to get closer to your microphone.
Sorry. Okay, I'll move over. All right.
Move over,
What I
Dad.
was trying to say is that the concept of good and evil is something that we are dealing with here on Earth. And the reason why we're dealing with the concept of good and evil is the fact that good and evil is an intelligent... sorry. Let me rephrase this. I'm getting tongue twister. Intellectual being type of thinking. That's all it is. Because when you look at animals, plants, bugs, whatever is living that doesn't have the intellectual concept of evolution, uh, learning intelligence, they understand this concept of balance. And because they understand this concept of balance, there is no such thing as good and evil, because good and evil is something we create as intellectual beings. Okay. And when it comes down to it, good and evil has nothing to do with balance. It never was. Okay. It is the concept of understanding a moral reason. That's why it's there. Is to understand what evil can do, what good can do, and what we can learn from it, to learn the values of it, the moralities of it. Okay. So, but that's not enough, for humanity to learn from. What we need to do is go back to our roots of understanding what is true balance, what is negative and positive, what makes negative and positive balance in the first place.
Now, the other thing I picked up when you were talking about things, who was our first teachers? Nature. And even nature now is surprising people because there are getting to be more and more incidents where in the prophecies over in the Bible that the lion will lay down with the lamb. And there's beginning to be a lot of stories about nature now that rather than killing their prey, they help their prey. But this is, I don't know if they're ready to hear this or not out there, but this is what I was told in a vision. We're in a testing period. The universal powers are allowing people freedom of choice. So what is happening is that the people who are not choosing the red road pathway and choosing the evil pathway, when it gets to a certain point where the greed, the evilness way outpowers the good, then that's the time of reckoning. And what's going to happen is that people like Trump and all, I've had visions and I've had dreams where rather than having them sentenced to, say, for instance, for the electric chair, hanging, firing squad, what I see is crucifixion. That the Romans dealt with these people. Because crucifixion, if you're going to suffer somebody for what they've done to humanity, wouldn't crucifixion be the right thing?
A lot of what you talk about, one, is at a conceptual level. Like Matthew was just saying, good and bad is a positionality, isn't it? Because not many people set out in their own head with what they're doing as thinking to themselves, I'm doing something evil now.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that good and bad is just a positionality. A lot of things is a conceptual level about love and those things. And you're talking about, the star people coming in spacecraft and taking people away. Some people will think you're mad. That's up to them. Whether they do or not, it's still one of those things that until it happens, nobody really knows.
Yeah.
And also throughout history, humanity has, been killing each other. It's not like any of this is something new. So, I don't know what my question is now.
Let's get back to it.
Hold on, let me say something. Now, when you're talking about that stuff, that's why I say theories. We have a word for it. It's called theories, and it's something we should start using more because theories may or may not be true.
Well, that's a hypothesis.
Exactly. You need a hypothesis way of speaking because if you're saying that, like my dad says, oh, the star people are coming, yeah, you will say people think you're mad. But if you say, well, I have this theory, it changes the whole conversation, doesn't it?
Yeah. But my question, I think, was that all that's really good, but for people at the moment living day-to-day normal lives, None of them actually think of themselves as doing evil. Some people, I don't know if you'd class it as objectively,
That's
but we would say that like a lot of what Trump is doing, especially ICE agents, what they've done, I think we'd put that in the evil category. It's hard to be going the red road when you're seeing all this kind of stuff going on.
well. Let me answer that question real quick. What is, if you look at it, the killing of the woman was kind of a catalyst. But what is the real reason why the American people are pissed off?
I don't know because I don't live there.
It's hurting their pocketbook.
Aha, yes.
So it's coming down to survival. And the shooting of innocent people is an excuse to cover up the real meaning why they're protesting and everything. And that is, it comes down to money. Their health care has jumped over 150%. Food has jumped 50%. Mortgage on houses, fortunately, have now come down, which is okay. But when you look at it, they're pissed. The farmers are pissed off because they gave Argentina $60 billion for their cattle business and other businesses. Well, they forgot about the farmers here. So how the hell are they selling their beef? And then the beef is basically, again, you go to the store where you could buy a roast for $10, $11 is now $26. So it comes down that the biggest problem that's pissing off the Americans right now is because their pocketbooks are being hurt. Their survival.
Now, here's a funny thing for all those who are Christian and believe in Christianity and their ways of that type of religion. What is one of the four horsemen
Well, there's famine,
that we're dealing with right now?
war.
Famine.
Oh, famine. I said famine first.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't hear you.
Yeah.
But famine is what my dad is talking about. And it's funny that Christians don't realize that. That's actually one of the four horsemen. And when he writes in, everything goes to shit. Our economy goes to shit.
And to kind of build on that, why are we going into famine? It's because we've got 8.5 billion people on a planet that can only support 4.
We seem to be drifting away from the central theme here, but go on.
Yeah. But then again, the whole situation comes down that a lot of this bullshit that's happening is caused by Trump. One person here, Trump. Second person, Putin. And
Okay.
go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, now, even though all this crazy shit that's going on in your country, your right-wing media has tried to make out that woman who got shot was at fault, that she drove at the ICE officer
He was a terrorist.
and all
No,
that
no,
kind of stuff.
I-
And no, let me just finish my point. But some
Okay, go
people
ahead.
are believing that narrative. I've even seen people over here sharing posts about it, and I'm like, I've seen the video of that supposedly his body vest camera, and they're using that as evidence to say that he was hit by the car. But you go, well, that doesn't even show he was hit by the car.
All right. So by law, I actually know about this more because I've actually got invested into it. By law, yes, he that's what you call attempt of murder, if I believe, in by law with your vehicle, because a vehicle is still considered a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense. And yes, I saw the video of it too and stuff like that. The whole thing is she was panicking, is what I believe. Okay. And when you panic, you don't know what you are doing. And she was just trying to get trying to get out type
Yeah.
of situation. Okay. And with one of the ICE agents being away, it's going to be more like, get out of my way. I want to get out of here kind of deal. It wasn't the case of that, oh, I want to kill you kind of intent. No, I think she was just fearing, she was panicking, she didn't know what to do. And because of it, the ICE agents didn't know how to handle the situation. okay, and reacted because they were trigger happy to shoot somebody.
Yeah, I'm not looking at. What I'm saying is that the narrative is saying that. Why are people buying into that narrative? Because when you see the speeches going and turning away, anybody who knows what they're doing with a weapon, I mean, I was in the Navy, I would have to shout a challenge before I shot anybody. You know, if somebody came up the gangway of my warship and I was on duty, I would draw my gun and I would say, "Stop, Navy, or I fire."
Okay, hold on. So, like I said, I've been watching the videos and stuff like that. It's the concept of that they're using the whole concept of endangering another life as an excuse. That's what people are believing is this fact. And yes, his life was in danger, but the way they are spitting it, yes, it is true of the situation that happened, but what they're spitting out is not gibberish. What's the best way? They're trying to hype it up more than it should be.
Well, it's the whole idea when you come at it. The best thing that they have video.
Hmm.
And the lies are so big that how can you believe saying that he had internal bleeding and after he shot the woman, they see him walking away?
Yeah.
Well, if you have internal bleeding, you ain't going to be walking away from it.
No, he clearly wasn't hit hard.
No.
Oh, wait.
I'm going to explain this one.
And then secondly, if you're in your house and someone comes in, whether it's a police officer, whether it's just a stranger, the right of that person to protect his home and to protect his life has the right to self-defense.
Mm-hmm.
Now, even if a police officer comes in and tries to shoot you and you try to prevent him and you knock him to the ground and take the gun away, it's not assaulting an officer. Under the law, that should be self-defense.
Mm-hmm.
Just like the old Western when the sheriff came out and challenged a person to gunfight, and the sheriff drew first, but the gunfighter shot him and killed him, there were no charges. Self-defense. So we need to take a look at everybody needs to take a look at the law. He stood in front of the car. She was trying to protect herself by getting away. So she had the right to self-defense. He didn't get hit. He didn't get anything. He didn't have the right to use physical force. And that's what the problem and what it should come down to is the fact that he shot someone who was innocent. They had no gun.
Yeah, I mean, why didn't he just shoot the tires out? He was close enough. Or one of the other agents.
He wanted to kill somebody.
Yeah,
period.
Trigger happy.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if it's true or not, but the leader of the Proud Boys was an ICE agent that was in prison for I don't know if he killed the officer, but he attacked an officer with a baseball bat. So he got charged and put in prison. He got pardoned by Trump, and I guess the story is he hired him as an ICE agent.
Because we're down to our last minute now, that brings me back to what you're saying. You think that everything's going to change when you get to your midterms. Do you still think that's going to happen, or is like his thugs and his media going to prevent that from happening?
Well, I think I got a feeling that things might change even earlier there because of the pressure, and hopefully the governors of all the states will wake up and protect their people and force ICE completely out of their states and not allow them in there because they do have that right. They have the right to protect their people, and if their people are being threatened, well, then the National Guard is there to protect them.
Right, we're going to wrap up now because we're going to get kicked out in a second.
Like I say, power to the people.
Yeah. It's an interesting conversation. Nothing really spiritual coming in there, apart from some of the things that you were saying about the Red Road, things that you've said before. But it is a good message, so people do need to try and find the way to be loving and connect with nature. And next week, hopefully, now that YouTube's should let us go live next Monday. So if you're listening or watching, join us on the Human Circle of Life channel live on Monday at 9 p.m.
Maybe we need to do like the movie Ben, control all the rats.
Thanks for listening to Straight Talk Sacred Pathway. If you'd like to ask Wa-Na-Nee-Che a question, you can email me at stuart@realityresponsibility.com. The link will be in the description. And don't forget, you can download a powerful guided meditation for free at humancircleoflife.com.